Good evening and welcome to the Paramount City Hall. This is a special notice that pursuant to Executive Order N-29-20 executed by the Governor of California on March 17th, 2020, and as a response to mitigating the spread of coronavirus known as COVID-19, the meeting of the City Council scheduled for Tuesday, February 2nd, 2021 at 6 p.m. will allow members of the public to participate and address the City Council during the open session of the meeting via live stream and or by teleconference only. And with that, I will turn it over to Mayor Peggy Lemons to start our City Council meeting. Mayor Lemons?
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. With that, I will call to order the February 2nd, 2021 meeting of the Paramount City Council. Could we have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Lori Guillen, followed with the invocation by Pastor Grady Jones from the New Commandment Baptist Church.
Please join me in saluting our flag. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, making our created, as I come before your presence, first of all, we thank you for this day allowed us to see. Thank you for Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, King of faith, right, and sins. As we come together, Father God, with the council and the citizens of the city, Father, we pray that unity be a part of our city, Father God. Unify our council members, Father God, and also pray for our nation, Father. That's our need spirit in our nation, Father. We pray that bring peace to this country and this world, Father God. As you turn this virus in a different direction. Pray, Father God, all of us to understand we're all your children, regardless of what color we are, we're all your children. You want to ask you to unify like never before. Pray love, bind us together, Father God, in one spirit and one mind. Let our country come together in one spirit, one mind, Father. No Republican, no Democrats, no Independents, we're all your children. And that's the best this council in a special way. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Can we have roll call of council members, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Here.
Councilmember Guillen.
Here.
Councilmember Cuellar Stallings.
Here.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
I'm here.
Mayor Lemons.
Here. Next up, we have some presentations that we would like to do. And we're going to begin by first proclaiming Black History Month in the city of Paramount. Black History Month is an annual celebration of achievements by African Americans, a time to recognize their central role in U.S. history and to pay tribute to generations who have struggled with adversity. Black History Month dates back to Negro History Week, which was first held in 1926. February was chosen to coincide with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. The celebration was expanded to a month in 1976 when Americans were urged to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. This year's theme is Black Family, Representation, Identity, and Diversity, which explores the African diaspora and the spread of Black families across the United States. It is our honor to take part in this recognition. A copy of the proclamation will be sent to the Paramount High School Black Student Union. The city will also be highlighting historical Black individuals throughout the month on our social media platforms and website. Tonight, we have a special treat. Longtime community member, Dr. Linda Timmons, has been a child and family counselor for more than 25 years. She has also served the Paramount community as a member of the Unity in the Community Committee, an ambassador with the Chamber of Commerce, and is a community emergency responder with the Red Cross. Tonight, she will read The Hill We Climb, the poem written for the presidential inauguration by National Youth Poet Laureate Amanda Gorman, the youngest inaugural poet in U.S. history. Dr. Timmons, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mayor Lemons, City Council members, and staff. Knowing the past opens the door to the future. That is why it is my great pleasure and honor to briefly speak on the continuing importance of the annual celebration of Black History Month. February is an annual federally recognized month that calls on all Americans to reflect on the significant roles that African Americans have played in shaping U.S. history. Usually, it is the writings and poems of African Americans from our past history that would take the forefront of recognition. Without diminishing those great accomplishments, this evening, on behalf of the Paramount City Council, I am honored to kick off Black History Month by celebrating the youngest National Youth Poet Laureate who has made recent history, Miss Amanda Gorman, a name that most households recognize now and a name that has become part of our proud history. Amanda S.C. Gorman is a Harvard graduate, an American poet, an activist, and she has a twin sister. Ms. Gorman's work focuses on issues of oppression, feminism, race, and marginalization, as well as the African diaspora. It is my humble honor tonight to recite her poem, The Hill We Climb. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We braid the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours. Before we knew it, somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time, where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together, victorious. Not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in all the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade. The hill we climb, if only we dare. It's because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith, we trust. For while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour. But within it, we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So, while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move what shall be. A country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left with. Every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limb hills of the west. We will rise from the wind-swept northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked South. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover. And every known nook of our nation and every corner called our country, our people diverse and beautiful, will emerge, battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade of flame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light. If only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Timmons. Thank you very much. That's extremely uplifting and very, very powerful words. We also want you to know that the city will be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month in September with a similar proclamation and social media profiles. Next up, we're going to be proclaiming February as National Children's Dental Health Month. Under the guidance of the American Dental Association, this campaign promotes the benefits of good oral health to children, their caregivers, teachers, and others. This year's slogan is Water, Nature's Drink. In Paramount, the city supports the Children's Dental Health Center, a organization that provides quality dental care and oral health education for residents up to the age of 21 who may have difficulties with access. They do great work, and we appreciate their efforts very much. We will be sending them this certificate of recognition. Next, we want to recognize two of our retirees from the city of Paramount. Tonight, we are saying goodbye to a couple of longtime city employees who retired before the end of the year, both of them from the Public Works Department. Harris Madeley started working in Paramount in 1986 and spent his career in the Water Division. He served as the city's inspector for contracted work for all water projects. Harris had the affectionate name of Big Kahuna, and he is a standout Elvis impersonator. Congratulations, Harris. We sincerely appreciate your service to the city of Paramount. Next, we have Dale Long, who began in Paramount part-time in 1977 and then was hired full-time in 1984. He was in the recreation department before transferring to Public Works. Throughout his time here, he specialized in landscaping work, such as maintaining our ball fields, trimming trees, and other endeavors. So if you admired these features in town over time, you have Dale to thank. He was also well known for his mild-mannered approach to all things. Congratulations, Dell. We thank both of these men for their decades of service to our community and wish them all the best in retirement. They are receiving a certificate, a crystal plaque, and a Paramount Street sign with their name on it. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our presentations for the night. With that, we will move into City Manager updates for public comments.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. We do not have any City Council public comment updates, but I would like to fill this time with an announcement that came about that is of significance. Then this announcement came out last week, if you don't mind, Madam Mayor.
Sure.
Okay, I wanted to share some good news out of Sacramento for our rental community here in Paramount. Last Friday, Governor Newsom signed an emergency bill that extends through June eviction protections, and that's for renters statewide. The measure prevents landlords from evicting tenants who pay at least 25% of their rent through the month of June. The legislation that the governor signed also provides rent subsidies that are aimed at paying up to 80% of past due rent by low-income tenants. Now, as we understand it, the tenant would need to apply, and then the landlord would then need to agree to accept this amount, and that is the 80% of the past due rent. If the landlord accepts this 80% past due rent funds, then the landlord agrees to forgive the remainder of the past due rent. Applications for this new rent relief program are going to be available on a state website very soon, and the state expects to begin accepting applications in March. So we'll publicize this application process on our social media channels. And the mayor did send off a letter to both of our legislators, Speaker Rendon and Senator Gonzalez, thanking them for supporting this important legislation. Now, in addition to this eviction protection law, I also want to remind you about the existing statewide rent control law that became effective last year. And this was the Tenant Protection Act of 2019, and it established rent control statewide, and this took effect January 1 of 2020. This rent control law, it caps rent increases statewide, and it also provides a just cause eviction protections to tenants throughout California. Rent can only increase by 5% plus the rate of inflation for much of the state's multifamily housing stock. So this is definitely helpful to our renters in town, is very good news to him, especially many of those whom are struggling to make ends meet. Lastly, I want to remind everyone that we are still accepting applications for rental assistance grants, and qualified residents can receive up to $2,000 for living expenses, including rent. We were recently informed by HUD that we will be receiving additional money to provide even more grants to folks who are unable to pay their rent as a result of the pandemic. And we will have a more in-depth presentation about this use of this new money at the February 16th City Council meeting. So that was the announcement that I wanted to make tonight, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Moreno. And now we'll move to the public comment section. Do we have public?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do. We have 5 public comments, 4 of which are related to item number 13, the community gardens. So we'll get to those public comments when we reach that item. We do have 1 for the general public comment period right now. And I will hand it over to Andrew Villalpando, our Assistant City Manager, who will get the caller on the line. Andrew? Okay, we cannot get him on the line at the moment, Madam Mayor. We can go back to the office and try and check the number a little bit more. And we could get back to you, or we could take the comment later on in the meeting, however you'd like to proceed.
I apologize. I'm talking away on a muted mic. Yes, you can verify that we have the correct phone number in the back. And if we do, we're just going to go ahead and move on with the meeting, okay?
Okay, Andrew says he's going to try one more phone line right now.
Okay.
We'll give it one last shot here.
Hello, you've reached Alex. I'm not available to take your call right now. If you'd like, you can leave it.
We got his voicemail. That was Mr. Yanez.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on with the meeting.
Okay.
So we're going to move into the consent calendar.
Yes,
And
Madam
this-
Mayor, can we, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Madam Mayor, but staff would like to request that item number 7 be removed from calendar for tonight, and we will bring it back at a future meeting.
Okay, can I have a motion to, would a table be the proper word, Mr. Kavanaugh, table this item or pull this item?
Or take it off calendar.
Yes, Madam Mayor, your motion would be to take this item off calendar, and we will bring it back to you.
Okay, do I have a motion to take this item off calendar?
Motion to take the item off calendar. This is Gail.
Second, Square Stallings.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Dean, second by Councilmember Cuellar Stallings. We take ordinance number 1148 off calendar. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Okay, so now we'll move to the remainder of the consent calendar. I need a motion to approve.
This
So
is
moved,
Square
Olmos.
Stallings. Okay, go ahead. Look, Brenda.
Okay, I have a motion by Vice Mayor Olmos. Who seconded?
Square Stallings.
Seconded by Cuellar Stallings that we move the consent calendar. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. With that, we'll move to item number 8 under old business, continued public hearing for ordinance number 43. Can we have a staff report, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, our Assistant City Manager, Andrew Villalpando, will handle this item. Andrew?
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. This item is a rather routine and ministerial item. A similar item was brought before you at our last City Council meeting for adoption. Just to preface, as you know, the City of Paramount is situated atop a robust network of petroleum pipelines operated by various franchises. Most of these pipelines do not originate here in Paramount. Rather, they originate very many miles away, but our city is just geographically located atop of them. With that said, pipelines that run within the state of California are regulated by the California Public Utilities Commission. Federal and state law preempt or do not allow the city to have much voice or say on how these franchisees maintain or operate their pipelines. Rather, a lot of the provisions in state and federal law do allow cities to enter into agreements with these franchises set forth by Public Utilities Code Section 6231.5, which also establish fees that the city would be entitled to if such an agreement were to be entered. Fees, according to these provisions of state law, are based on the length and diameter of a pipeline and are adjusted each year according to the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. Specifically about this pipeline we're discussing this evening, for over 40 years, the city has had an agreement with several different petroleum companies for the operation of pipeline number 63. Line 63 runs about 5,700 feet in length under El Camino Avenue, Alondra Boulevard, San Jose Avenue, and Ann Smith Avenue. The pipeline has changed ownership over the last 40 years, but is currently maintained by Pacific Pipeline System, LLC. This evening, we're bringing forward to you a request to renew this pipeline agreement with Pacific Pipeline as they applied for a renewal based on the fact that the agreement for line number 63 expired in 2019. Currently, according to the Consumer Price Index and the fee structure set by the California Public Utilities Commission, the city currently makes about $3,800 a year for operation of this pipeline, which is what the city is entitled to. That will likely increase each subsequent year through the duration of the contract or the duration of the ordinance based on the Consumer Price Index. It benefits the city to enter into some sort of agreement with these franchises so that we can maintain some sort of control and understanding on how they're maintained. For example, some of the provisions included in these agreements are that the franchise would have to provide the city with copies of all environmental reports they file with environmental agencies and notify the city in the event of any spill or environmental safety hazard. Franchises are strictly liable for any damage caused in connection for the use or operation of their pipeline. And in order for the city council to enter into agreement with this franchise, it would require a public hearing and adoption at a subsequent meeting of the city council. A notice for public hearing was posted for Ordinance 1143 on December 24th, 2020, announcing the public hearing set for January 12th, which, as you may recall, we requested continuation to this evening, which is what is before you this evening. So at this point, it's recommended that the City Council read by title only, waive further reading, introduce ordinance number 1143, and place it on the February 16, 2021 agenda for adoption. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Andrew. Questions for staff?
I have one question. Go ahead.
This is Councilmember Claire Stallings. Andrew, I'm just saying in case, if an event of a spill or any type of threat should occur, what is the protocol? I mean, how would the residents be notified? How would City Council be notified? I just, I'm kind of would like to understand it, please.
So in the ordinance, there is a section under construction which discusses emergency work. In that section, it does require that not only the franchise repair any leaks or breaks in the pipelines, but that they notify the Public Works Director and the Los Angeles County Fire Department Hazmat Division immediately.
So the assumption would be from that point then, after the Public Works Director's notified, then of course we would all be notified.
Yes, that's correct. That would be pursuant to our regular practices here.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And then I believe Councilmember Ian, did you have a question?
I did. I just wanted to see if they had mentioned to you what type of testing they do, because if this had expired and we weren't being notified, I wonder if that would answer some of the questions that were being posed to Adriana Lopez with these loud sonic explosions that would shake the ground. And we all wondered, what they were, and nobody could ever figure out where they were coming from. So do you know what the testing consists of?
Councilmember, again, no, I'm sorry, I don't have that information at hand. Certainly we can inquire. I do know, as listed in this ordinance and the previous agreement, which expired, all franchises that operate pipelines under our city infrastructure are required to pull permits and request permission to conduct that public work. However, that specific incident, no, I couldn't tell you what their specific testing procedures are. However, I can look into that and get back to you.
Hey, thanks.
Anyone else? If not, then I need a motion. Oh. This is a public hearing. If there's no further reports from staff, and I'd like to know if there's anyone wishing to speak in favor of this item.
No, Madam Mayor, there are no requests to speak in favor,
Anyone in opposition?
and none in opposition either.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, almost. Second, Aguayo.
Been moved by Vice Mayor Olmos, seconded by Councilmember Aguayo that we close the public hearing. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen,
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos,
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes.
Madam Mayor, if I may, this is John Moreno, the city manager. I did need to announce that notice of this hearing has been given pursuant to Section 6232 of the California Public Utilities Code, and that the affidavits of publication and posting are on file in the city clerk's office. And I'd like to announce that the number of written objectives received has been 0. Then I move back to you, Madam Mayor, to ask for the motion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moreno. Do I have a motion on the item?
This is
So
Claire
moved.
Stallings. So moved.
Okay, I have it moved by Cuellar Stallings. Was there a second?
Yes, Madam Mayor, that was almost.
Thank you. Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Cuellar Stallings and seconded by Vice Mayor Olmos that we overrule deny all sections and read by title only, waive further reading, introduce ordinance number 1143, and place it on the February 16, 2021 agenda for adoption. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen,
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos,
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Next, we have a public hearing on ordinance number 1146. Can we have a staff report, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor, thank you. Items number 9 and 10 are related. They both are something that we do each and every year. Our Public Safety Director, Adriana Lopez, will handle both items, but they do both require separate public hearings and separate motions. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Lopez.
Thank you, John. Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. You're probably aware that the City of Paramount Municipal Code has always adopted and incorporated by reference the LA County Traffic Code. And to ensure that our code is up to date, we annually reincorporate the latest version of the county code into our municipal code. The state law does require that a certain procedure be followed for adopting the county codes by reference. The city council must have a first reading of the ordinance, set a date for a public hearing on the ordinance. The first reading was conducted at the January 12, 2021 City Council meeting, and the public hearing was set for this evening. With that, it is recommended that the City Council read by title only, waive further reading, and introduce ordinance number 1146 and place it on the next regular agenda for adoption. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Adriana. Are there questions? If not, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this item?
No, Madam Mayor, there is not.
Anyone in opposition?
Not in opposition either.
May I have a motion to close public hearing?
Councilmember Aguayo, make a motion to close the public hearing. I will second that. This is almost.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Aguayo and seconded by Vice Mayor Olmos that we close the public hearing. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen,
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos,
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Okay, may I have a motion on the item?
So moved, almost.
Second, Aguayo.
Moved by Vice Mayor Olmos, seconded by Councilmember Aguayo that we waive further reading and introduce ordinance number 1146 and place it on the next regular agenda for adoption. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen,
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos,
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Next, we have ordinance number 1147. Can we have a staff report?
Ms. Lopez?
Yes, thank you, John. Once again, this item is related. Once again, the City of Paramount Municipal Code has always adopted and incorporated by reference the LA County Health and Safety Code. To ensure that our code is up to date, we annually reincorporate the latest version of the county into our municipal code. State law requires that a certain procedure be followed for adopting the county codes by reference. The City Council must have a first hearing of the ordinance, set a date for the public hearing on the ordinance. The first reading was conducted at the January 12, 2021 City Council meeting, and the public hearing was set for this evening. And with that, it is recommended that the City Council read by title only, waive further reading, and introduce ordinance number 1147 and place it on the next regular agenda for adoption. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Adriana. Are there questions for staff? If not, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this item?
No, ma'am.
Anyone in opposition?
None in opposition either.
May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
This is Claire Stallings. Motion to close the public hearing.
I will second. This is Olmos. Okay. Moved by Councilmember Cuellar Stallings, seconded by Vice Mayor Olmos, that we close the public hearing. We have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. And now we'll need a motion on the item. So moved, Olmos.
Second, Claire Stallings.
Okay, it's been moved by Vice Mayor Olmos, seconded by Councilmember Cuellar Stallings, that we read by title only, waive further reading, introduce ordinance number 1147, place it on the next regular agenda for. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Next up, we have authorization for adjustment to the fiscal year 2021 budget. Can we have a staff report, please?
Absolutely, Madam Mayor. It seems as if each week we're receiving different news about how the COVID vaccine will be rolled out. Just last week, for instance, we all learned that the state will be entering into a contract with Blue Shield of California and Kaiser Permanente to take over the distribution of the vaccine. Nonetheless, as I've been informing you over the last few weeks, we want to do whatever we can to assist the county, state, or whoever other agency to get the vaccine out quickly to our residents. So the item before you is to authorize budget adjustments that prepares us in case we are allowed to assist in the vaccine distribution. And we're also proposing to provide transportation to vaccine sites to our neediest of residents. So with that, I will turn it over to our Community Services Director, Mr. David Johnson, who will handle the item. David?
Thank you, John. Madam Mayor and council members. So, as John mentioned, we're here to kind of give you an update as to what's happening with the vaccine and the budget adjustments we need to make that happen. So, as we all know, the vaccine is flowing down through the federal government to the state government and then allocated out to the county, and then it's following through county health distribution and guidelines. We all know that it's not happening as fast as we would like. They are dealing with limited supply of the vaccines, and we're only hoping, again, that supply of vaccines will increase as time goes on. The county did set up some mass distribution sites, or what they call medical point of dispensing, or MPODs. So they have these large sites. The ones closest to us would be the Forum, Dodger Stadium, and the closest one is at LACO, LA County Office of Education in Downey. So they were working, the county was working with cities. We were one of them to become like a mini distribution site. And as John mentioned, this is constantly changing. So we were notified that that has been put on hold. And now they're turning to private parties, Kaiser and Blue Shield, to help with the dispensing of those vaccines. Though my understanding is that large sites like LACO and Dodger Stadium will still remain open. So what we're waiting here is to see how that new plan is going to roll out, and then what role we can have in that plan to assist our residents in getting to the vaccine. So as Blue Shield, as information about Blue Shield and Kaiser starts to come to us, we're hoping that there will be some local clinics or facilities that will be dispensing in this area and that we can then assist them to making sure that our residents have access to it. Now, the things that we can control, we do have some services that we can provide to our residents to make sure they have access. So currently, we do have a medical taxi program, but that program right now, under its guidelines, is limited to only seniors 60 and up and those with adults with disabilities. What we're asking for is an expansion of that eligibility. And again, no cost to the residents, but we want basically, if you're able to get a vaccine appointment and you, no matter your age, and you do not have the ability to get to that appointment, if it's at a LACO site or a site in town, we would want to provide free taxi service to get those residents to that vaccine site. Now, like if they get a site at LACO, if you have an appointment, they are drive-through sites, so you would have to get there. It's the trip to the site. There can be anywhere between a 2-hour to 4-hour wait, and so we have to assume that cost. We are right now looking at just any local site that may come up, LACO, Dodger Stadium. Actually, we're not providing transportation or to the Forum because of the cost of the taxi trip. Now, we are hoping again through the Kaiser Blue Shield model that there will get some local sites, and that will really assist us, and we can certainly get our residents to those sites should they get an appointment. We're estimating in our budget that this would be about a $5,000 increase or allocation to just the vaccine trips, and so that also that comes out of our Proposition 8 transportation funds. The other thing that we're doing is vaccine appointment assistance. So right now we're at that level where anybody 65 and up can get an appointment. We did create a list of seniors that are needing assistance. Again, all these appointments are set up that you need a cell phone, you need an email, you need to do it online. Our senior population obviously is not always able to do that. So we have about 100 people that we're working with of our senior population that has contacted us. And we're helping them get appointments. To date, we've been able to make 18 appointments for our seniors to get, most of them, in fact, all of them, pretty much have been at Dodger Stadium. Luckily, all those seniors had the ability to transport themselves, so that worked out well. But we're hoping, again, that we get more local sites pop up, more appointments, so we can get more of our seniors into those appointments. The other thing what we're doing with this list is, the mayor, through a letter, has reached out to all the medical facilities in our area that if they do, for whatever reason, come up with additional vaccines that they need to get rid of that day and they don't have any more appointments, to contact us, and immediately that we will then get on the line with our seniors on this list and get them over there to use those excess vaccines so they do not go to waste. So we have a little senior standby list, and we're hoping at some point we are able to use that. The other assistance that we provide is, as John mentioned, again, it's a moving target. We don't know how this is going to play out, but we want to be ready. So we did originally put in the budget about $76,000 for part-time staff in the recreation department to provide line control and things of that nature if we were able to do a community MPOD, a dispensing site in town. As John mentioned, that has gone away and we're moving to a new model. We're still hoping that at some point there is an opportunity in Paramount. We want to leave this in the budget so we have the flexibility to deploy staff in any way possible to assist with any kind of vaccine distribution site that may occur in Paramount. And that $76,000 would be funded with our COVID reserve fund or with CDBG funds. So the recommended action before you tonight is to approve that temporary expansion of medical transit eligibility, create a budget adjustment for $5,000 for the medical transportation services, and a $75,900 adjustment in FY21 for staffing and resources in the recreation department to support the vaccine distribution services. I should note that that third point is a slight change from what was originally put in the agenda report because obviously new information came out, and now it's there not for a medical site in town, but for any assistance that we can provide should it occur. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Are there questions? If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion on item number 11.
So moved, Olmos. Second, Aguayo.
Been moved by Vice Mayor Olmos, seconded by Councilmember Aguayo. that we approve the following 3 items: temporary suspension of eligibility for tax services for COVID-19 vaccine purposes, and adjustment to the fiscal year 2021 adopted budget in the amount of $5,000 for expended medical taxi services offset by Prop 8 transportation funds, and 3, authorize an adjustment to the fiscal year 2021 adopted budget in the amount of $75,900 for staffing and resources to support a Paramount vaccination point of distribution site using the COVID-19 relief reserve. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen,
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos,
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Okay, we're going to move on to item 12, Explore Paramount Stop Local Campaign.
Yes, Madam Mayor, this next item involves a set of local economic stimulus programs that we'd like your approval on. As we hopefully turn the corner on the pandemic, we really need to provide as much help as possible to our small business community. A couple of the ideas you're about to hear are new, and one of the ideas actually enhances a former economic development program that we had some years ago. And this was called the Purchase It in Paramount program, and it definitely helped to spur economic activity locally. So we're very excited to introduce this 3-pronged approach to our economic development tool chest. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Assistant City Manager, Mr. Andrew Villalpando, who will handle the item. Andrew?
Thank you, John. Good evening again, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. We're really excited to introduce this new campaign and concept to you. As John mentioned, this is just part of our ongoing efforts to make sure that we not only protect our residents and interests from all things COVID-19 related, but not forget about our business community. Before I jump into the campaign, I just wanted to provide a little bit of context of how we got to this point, and hopefully it'll help articulate and demonstrate just what our efforts are here from the city of Paramount. So, needless to say, once COVID hit last year, it was a major priority for us to kind of do a situational assessment of what resources we could send to in what different directions. We immediately we realized that after the county health orders were going to substantially impact our local businesses, just given the safety restrictions imposed on them, we swiftly worked to assemble a business recovery committee that was essentially had many members of our business community and different stakeholders, including the Chamber of Commerce, the Small Business Development Center based out of Long Beach, which services Paramount, as well as our Workforce Development Board. That committee developed a business recovery plan, which we presented to you on July 7th of last year to give you an update and of the deliverables and the different processes we'd hopefully put in place to try to spur our local economy to recover from the damage caused by the safety restrictions of the COVID-19 pandemic. As state and county restrictions continue to affect our business community, we want to continue to work collaboratively with our committee, our Business Recovery Committee, and explore every opportunity we can with the intention of supporting our local businesses. So this following report, what we're excited to jump into right now is to introduce to you a new Shop Local campaign. Up to this point, we have not really had a coordinated approach or strategy to attract shoppers, patrons to Paramount for businesses. As John mentioned, we had a program in the past called Purchase It in Paramount, which was an honorable effort, but it just wasn't a widely coordinated effort that included all businesses, Chamber of Commerce, and other stakeholders. So with that said, I want to just kind of highlight what our 3-pronged approach that we're presenting to you this weekend as part of this evening as part of our campaign. The first is we're going to introduce to you our marketing and advertising strategy. For that part of this presentation, I will introduce to you in a moment Jennifer from Tripeppi & Smith. Tripeppi Smith was retained in 2016 by the city. They are our designated communications consultant. They handle complex communications and marketing projects intended to enhance public information. With this particular project, we tasked them with creating and developing not only a marketing and advertising strategy, but to essentially help us with the creative mind on creating a program that would last for future years and that can be used by businesses and stakeholders alike. The next approach in our campaign was to develop a customer incentive program. We'll dive a little bit deeper into this, but essentially, what ended up being a result of it was a receipts for reward program. So I'll touch on that in a moment, and as well as an online presence and accessibility for not only customers but businesses. So with that, I want to introduce Jen from Trepepi Smith, who will take you through our new campaign. Jen.
Sounds good. Thank you, John. Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. As John mentioned, my name is Jennifer Nentwig. I'm a director with Trepepi Smith, and I'm excited to share a few slides with you about our role in the Explore Paramount Shop Local campaign, which specifically was to provide marketing and advertising support. Next slide. On this slide, you'll see an overview of what I'll cover with you tonight. I'll give you a quick intro to our Trepepi Smith team, review the campaign goal, and describe the brand strategy process and outcomes before turning it back over to the city. So next slide. Here you can see the members of our team that primarily support the city of Paramount with marketing and communications. You have Ryder Todd Smith, the Trepepi Smith president, me, and business analyst Sarah Madsen. While we are the ones engaging with Paramount for the most part, Trepepi Smith is made up of more than 20 communication professionals with a wide range of skill sets, including strategy, videography, photography, website development, social media, and more. Next slide. With this project in particular, you can see our goal for this marketing campaign: to motivate residents and visitors to support Paramount businesses through a Paramount-specific campaign brand strategy, including a new campaign name and logo. Next slide. All right, and then we'll get into the brand strategy process. So next slide. As part of the brand strategy process, we started our research back in November. We connected with leaders from the city and the chamber to gather their feedback related to what they hoped people would take away from this campaign. You can see in this word cloud a lot of the words that kept popping up in our discussions. Words like exploring, discovering, connecting, wow, aha, excitement, surprising, and freshness. And a theme started to emerge about discovering, trying new things, being surprised and excited by what's available right here in Paramount. So you can see on this slide the name that we landed on: Explore Paramount Dine Shop Experience. Next slide. Once the name was selected, our team worked together to develop logo options that were eye-catching and reflected the campaign. Through our interviews, we knew that Paramount wanted fresh colors that pop and a combination of elements that tell a story. You can see the selected logo here on this slide, and we're really excited to see it start going into use in the coming weeks. The logo is designed in such a way that it can be used together with the City of Paramount and Chamber of Commerce logos as space permits on various marketing materials. But it doesn't have to be. It's intended to be user-friendly for Paramount businesses to incorporate into their own marketing as well. And we also do have a Spanish language version that will be available as the city rolls out the campaign together with the chamber and local businesses. Next slide. And currently our team is working on using the campaign brand elements to develop a list of collateral that you see here. So street banners, street signs, stickers, flyers, an email template, press release template, as well as social media graphic templates. We'll be providing these items to the city and the chamber, sharing those items with businesses for use to publicize the campaign and spread the word about this innovative program. And with that, I'll turn it back over to the city to describe how this exciting brand identity fits in with the rest of the campaign.
Thank you, Jen. This is Andrew again. I'm excited to introduce to you a Receipts for Rewards program, and this is the approach as part of our campaign to incentivize people to patronize Paramount, not just local residents, but visitors as well. The concept here was thought about by the Chamber of Commerce, and in concept, what would happen is patrons can, if they collect about $50 in receipts, they'll enter into a chance to win money through gift cards. The Chamber would host weekly drawings for these gift cards, which would be purchased from local businesses. As I mentioned, it would be administered by the Chamber of Commerce. The program would be promoted on social media, posters, pulse speed advertising, along with other vehicles for communication. The city will be providing $5,000, if approved tonight, of CARES Act funds to jumpstart the program, which we believe will take it for at least the first year of operation. Businesses will donate gift cards toward prizes as the program grows, and there'll be a little bit more on this later in the presentation. The Chamber will work to continue to recruit businesses to join in and encourage participation for all businesses. And again, the incentive of this program is you spend money in Paramount, we want to reward you. And we're hoping that the dollar amount is a good balance of encouraging people to participate. As I'll discuss a little bit later, we want to explore all ways, all avenues to make this a seamless, easy process for all ages and all generations. So we do intend for any program rollout of this to be accessible on your mobile device, to simply be able to snap a picture or scan a picture of your receipt, send it to the Chamber, and enter into the drawing. And I'm going to turn it over to our management analyst, Danny Elizararas, to discuss our online presence and accessibility.
Thank you, Andrew. So due to the COVID-19 pandemic, for public health concerns, the state and county placed restrictions on businesses for operations. This restriction made it difficult for businesses, especially those who did not have an online presence. With many merchants not equipped to have an online presence, we saw it as an opportunity to introduce an e-gift card platform. GiftBar is the largest digital gift card platform in the nation. This will allow local merchants to have an e-commerce component to their operations. I apologize. Give me 1 second. Did I? Oh, thank you for catching that. GiftBar offers a plethora of opportunities for our businesses, such as 24-hour accessibility for gift cards to be bought and sold. Participating merchants can link their bank accounts and get paid immediately, or decide to receive checks bi-weekly. This opens a whole new demographic to local businesses. E-gift cards generate more revenue. For example, if I received a $25 e-gift card from a local coffee shop, and if I use the card and I have $3 left, I would use my own money to cover the rest of another purchase. So, for example, if I decide to get a muffin with my coffee, it's actually generating more revenue than the original gift card of $25. GiftBar will be making a dedicated website for our businesses. Merchants can customize their profiles and share their URL links on their emails and social media accounts. The system will use barcodes to minimize fraud, and all the data will be trackable and manageable for participating merchants. This will be a 2-year agreement with the City of Paramount and GiftBar. The city will invest $3,000 to offset fees for both merchants and customers. Participating merchants will receive 100% of the revenue per transaction. Customers will not pay additional fees for their purchases. Typically, businesses will have 3% of the e-gift card dedicated to service fees, deducted for service fees, and customers will pay a $1 transaction fee for each gift card purchase. All those fees will be waived to encourage participation for both merchants and customers. Here's an example of a website page of GiftBar. This is taken from the City of Bellflower's program with GiftBar. As you can see, there's different merchants on this page. And here's an example of a business customizing their profile with a picture. So Blessed Tires Incorporated, they can have cool videos, nice photos, a small synopsis, and then after that, a business can cut and paste the URL and place it on emails or social media. So when an individual clicks on that link, it'll go directly to their profile of GiftBar, of the overall Explore Paramount page. And I'm going to pass it over to Andrew for our next steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. So next steps in rolling out this campaign, this three-pronged approach campaign, is to consolidate all of our resources that we currently have out there right now into one Explore Paramount webpage. This idea actually came about at our Business Recovery Committee meeting this past Thursday. This was a fantastic idea, and to be quite honest, it just makes sense. We have a lot of different resources and efforts out there right now, such as our Paramount Alfresco campaign that we launched last year. And we want to make it easy and accessible for our community and new visitors, patrons to Paramount. So what we envision doing is using this campaign, this Explore Paramount logo, to brand, to reach out to a demographic and community that hasn't quite explored all the areas of Paramount yet. To seek out advertising opportunities. And consolidate them all into one URL website that people can visit to participate in the Receipts for Rewards program, to learn and see all about Paramount Alfresco, and also where we'll house our online gift card platform. And just to wrap up, we do hope to launch this as soon as possible. We are going to be making some adjustments to our communications and branding so that we have a Spanish alternative option as well as some time, to a couple of days, to get our website URL up and running. We do plan to approach all businesses with the help of the chamber to try to get everyone behind this campaign. And you'll notice even in the logo itself, which is at the bottom left of the screen here, we intentionally left off the city logo so that of course we would use it next to our city logo, but businesses and community members and stakeholders can also share this logo and use it, to the best of their ability to encourage people to patronize Paramount. With that said, we'd be happy to answer any questions you have for us. Jen from Trepepe Smith is still on the line, as well as me and Danny. So with that, it's recommended that the City Council receive and file this report, approve an amendment to the FY21 adopted budget in the amount of $3,000 for an e-gift card program, and authorize the city manager or designee to enter into a 2-year agreement with GiftBar. And again, we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Andrew. Questions from council members to staff?
I have one, just a quick question. This is Councilmember Guillen. I was just curious, will this be for any and all businesses in the city of Paramount?
Councilmember Guillen, this is Andrew. Yes, that's what we envision. Specifically, if you're asking specifically about the gift card program, absolutely. In fact, I think if I could just speak a little bit more on the gift card online platform, one of the most appealing things about this idea is that it would potentially attract and provide exposure to businesses that don't traditionally or typically have online gift card or gift cards at all. So one of the examples we showed this evening was a tire shop, but we're thinking florists, auto body shops, haircuts, car washes, places that wouldn't traditionally have the resources to provide an online presence or gift card program. We, the city, are going to subsidize a program where they can enjoy 100% of the commission, and there would be no fees for the customer. So hopefully I answered that part of the question, Councilmember.
Yeah, so I guess what I want to know, so if they have a business license to do business in Paramount, whether it's, Boots or the 99-cent store, then anybody can participate in this program?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Andrew? Yeah, I have a couple questions, Mayor. Andrew, it says that they're able to sign up and create a unique profile. What if they don't have access to a computer or web to do that? Do we have some assistance in the city to help them build profiles if they want to join the program?
The answer is yes, and we think that what we envision, I think Barbara Croson's also on the line. If she answers the question, but that would be a perfect opportunity for the Chamber of Commerce to also reach out and lend a hand for those resources. Barbara, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
Good evening, Barbara. So the other thing is, too, when you say they're able to win gift cards to local businesses. So I know usually in the past, I think the city's always purchased food gift cards, but are we looking to maybe award them with a Ross or a Rite Aid or gas? I mean, are we looking to maybe expand our options on the gift cards? Especially right now, there's such a need for certain things.
That's a great question. So the receipts for rewards component of the campaign will be administered by the Chamber of Commerce. We would kind of give them a jumpstart funding toward gift cards, and we would leave it up to the chamber to determine what sorts of gift cards. So Barbara, I don't know if you could speak to that. I think that's a reasonable approach.
Yes, we had discussed that some funds would be used from the city to help start the program, but gift cards would be gift cards and gift certificates of whatever would be from all businesses. I'd be looking for businesses to donate them that want to participate. It's a good way for them to get recognized. It's also a good way for them to draw business to their business. But none of this would be contingent on them being a chamber member. All businesses would be encouraged to participate.
Perfect. Thank you, Barbara. And just a last comment. When you guys talked about marketing, I didn't see possibly maybe adding magnets to the city vehicles. I know we did that for the census. This may be a good opportunity to market Explore Paramount on our city vehicles with magnets.
That's a great idea. Thank you, Councilmember. Vice Mayor.
Anyone else?
I have a question for the chamber. What happens if you have the same resident turning in their receipts, but they're the ones that continually are the ones that are winning or the prizes? Are you going to monitor that, or is it just going to be whoever turns it in will win constantly?
That's a very good question. We haven't really even considered that question, so it would be something we should talk about. But in the true sense of a drawing, it would legitimately be a drawing. So the question would be, are we not getting enough participants? Is just one person participating each week? That's where we really want to get the word out there and drive people into the drawing. And if there's enough participants, I don't see how it would really end up being the same person winning every time. So.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
This is Councilmember Aguayo. Actually, I don't have any questions. Kind of all been answered, but I'm really excited to see how this plays out. I looking for something like this just for our businesses. So, I'm really excited to see how this is applied and how our residents respond to it. So, thank you.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions and a comment. You had mentioned that you were going to develop a web page, a website to incorporate everything to do with, the promotion, the alfresco, the Explore Paramount. You're talking about developing a specific page on our existing website or a whole different site?
Mayor Lemons, yeah, it would be a different site altogether. We currently actually have an independent site for our alfresco program. So we would probably figure out some way, we're near figuring out the solution of using that as the primary Explore Paramount page.
But of course, somehow link it to our existing page too, right?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
And I think it's a great program. I was really involved in the Purchase It and Paramount program. And so I think this answers a lot of the things that were missed in our first try at this, and I'm hoping too that it will be more successful. I would like to just put out to staff and to the chamber, and I would say more directly to staff, simply because I know the Chamber of Commerce, for the workload there, is woefully understaffed. But one of the unique things that exists in this city that we've never really taken advantage of, because it takes some manpower to get it done, is offering factory direct purchases. We have a lot of manufacturers in town that do sell factory direct, and some of them have really unique, interesting items. And we've just never, promoted that. And we have a lot of these manufacturers right here in town, or, logistically they store for somebody that has it. I know at one point we were looking into that with the chamber, and we had 7 or 8 sign up for a program that we were going to do to kick that off, and then we had to drop it because of some issues that came up in the chamber. But it just might be something the city really wants to look into, because those resources are right here. There's a lot of retail type items, things people need that are manufactured right here in town, and a lot of those manufacturers do sell factory direct.
Yeah, Mayor Lemon. Oh, thank you.
Okay, so we need a motion on this item.
Councilmember Aguayo, I move the item.
Have a second?
I'll second. This is Gian.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Aguayo, seconded by Councilmember Gian. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo,
Yes.
Councilmember Gian,
Yes.
Councilmember Quer-Stallings,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos,
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Next, we have a review of the community gardens in Paramount and future development options. I do know we have some speakers, but we'll start with a staff report.
Great, thank you, Madam Mayor. At a recent city council meeting, the city council requested an update on our community gardens. So tonight, we do have an update for you. And this will show you kind of the past of our community gardens and the present, and also will explain our efforts to find future garden options. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Community Services Director, Mr. Dave Johnson, who will walk us through the item. Dave?
Thank you, John. Madam Mayor and council members. So let's take a little stroll through our gardens here. This is what we used to have, and we know there is a lot of interest in community gardens, but this is what it used to exist in Paramount, and I'll obviously explain what we have left. There used to be 3 sites. We had one on a DWP, Department of Water and Power site, at Jefferson Street and Progress Park. We had a garden at the Garfield and Pedersen corner, and then we have a community garden at Orange and Cortland on Southern California Edison property. So we lost 2 of those 3. The site at Jefferson Street and Progress Park, that was lost to the development of Jefferson School. So you see, as you see there in the red box, that is approximately where the garden used to exist and has now become part of the school property for a parking lot for teachers and staff. Now, this garden, we still have control of this property to a certain extent. This is the old Garfield Pedersen garden site. This went away quite a while back. They went through a couple reasons why we lost it. Originally, Royal Truck Body was going to expand their storage lot, and they were going to use this property for that purpose. That went away. Royal Truck Body moved. CalMet has a project that still is possible to happen. So they were looking at expanding Pedersen and creating a right turn, a better right turn pocket. So that would have used up that property as well. So that's still a possibility of happening. But even if we get the property back, if that project doesn't happen and we control the property, this is an inadequate site. It's on a major boulevard. It doesn't have its own dedicated parking. It's in an industrial area, so it's not the best location for a community garden. And additionally, the property to the north is eventually going to become it's metro property, and it's going to be part of a bike path. So this is really never going to come back to being a community garden. Now, the site that we do have that remains a community garden is over in the Orange Cortland area. It does have space for 28 individual gardeners. There is always and constantly a wait list. And luckily, in the last few years, we've actually been able to move a lot of new gardeners in there as the older gardeners have aged out or moved. It does have dedicated on-site parking. I think there's about 3 or 4 spaces there for them. It is in a residential neighborhood, so it's a nice, quiet area. The recreation department, our role is to manage the gardens program. So luckily, it's only one. We are the ones that enroll those gardeners every year, make sure they have access. We monitor the site, and our public works department provides the maintenance of the site. Now, we do have another garden. It is not a community garden per se. Excuse me. It's a site we built for our STAR after-school program, and it is at the east end of Progress Park. It is funded with our after-school education safety grant, so it has to be used for the after-school and education safety program. It cannot be used as a general community garden. However, the garden's gone through a couple phases here, and we had to shut it down during the drought. And then we had to shut it down because of COVID restrictions and the fact that the students are not actually on site currently. So what we've done is we've published it out to our STAR families that, hey, if you want, you can garden on that site through February through maybe middle of August when we anticipate students coming back to school next fall. After that period of gardening, it will revert back to a student operation where the students get a garden on those sites. However, though, if our STAR families find it really interesting and they love doing it, we might maintain some part of that, but it does have to remain as part of the STAR program. Now, Paramount Unified School District actually has garden sites. They actually have 3 current sites at Collins, the Odyssey STEM Academy, and the high school West Campus. They are proposing 2 additional ones. One would be at the senior campus and one at Roosevelt School. Now, future development. Everyone is interested in building new gardens, as are we. Here's the problem. It's a development obstacle of a lack of availability of land. As we all know, we are a built-out community. So the places where we really do have available land is on those right-of-ways by these power companies, DWP and SCE. Unfortunately, right now, Department of Water Power is not taking applications for uses like community gardens. So that is not an option open to us right now. The Southern California Edison still remains an option. We are looking at a new garden under SE property and a possibility of expanding our existing Orange Cortland garden. So let me show you what we're thinking of for the proposed new site. This would be the property just south of Rosecrans. It's north of Salud Fitness Park. It is something that we are going to be submitting a permit application for to use it as a community garden. Now, it is off a major boulevard, but what we would do here is require, or at least ask for, that we could do on-site parking there, so it's not a problem. Now, it is to your far left is Spanny Park, and then to your right of this site, that is Tanner School. There would be a possibility here of also being able to allocate some of this space to the students. Other things that we would like to look at as soon as we are past this pandemic is create city-sponsored garden share events where we would advertise to our local community, those people who are home gardeners who are growing things, fruits, vegetables, a variety of things in their backyards, where they have an excess of product that they could bring them to these share events and exchange with other gardeners. It would not be a market where they could sell, it would be an exchange market. The other thing we're looking at, and this is a little bit outside the box, is that property you see on that graphic there that there's that red box is where the mini pitch is going in at Dills Park. The green box would be a possible chance where we could build what we call a community orchard. So it would be a place where you would grow fruit trees, various other vegetables. It would be a fenced area because we need to make sure that it is not vandalized and that when it is ready to be harvested that it would be available. So this would be a place where as soon as we have fruits or vegetables ready to pick, we would open it up to the community to come on in and go ahead and harvest in the community garden. We would conduct it with volunteers. We would look for nonprofits that would help donate the seeds and the plants to get it going. But I think there's a really nice opportunity here in that large space of land to build a community orchard. Part of this, though, would also, around that orchard would be a walking trail that would connect the Rio Puente Mobile Home Park to the mini pitch and ultimately to the rest of Dills Park's walking trail. And this is an example I got off the internet. It's in, I think, Bloomington, Illinois. It shows on the left there an image of the garden that they have in their public space, and then that was the rendering, the concept drawing on the right. So again, we'd be looking at doing something like this to, and again, it's a fenced area and they control access to it, but they open it up when they're ready to harvest. The recommended action is to receive and file this report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, David. Before we move into questions, because there may be more that come out of it, could we hear from the speakers for public comments?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do have 3 that are verbal, oral, and 1 is an email comment. So we'll start off with the oral public comments, and I'll turn it over to Andrew Villalpando, who will handle that part.
Hello.
Good evening. This is the City of Paramount calling for Luis Bautista.
Yeah, this is Luis. Good evening.
Hi, Mr. Bautista. We're calling you regarding your request for public comment for item number 13 this evening. You're being broadcast live to the City Council now, and we'll allow you 3 minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You may begin.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for the time. I just wanted to use my time and really briefly say that I'm happy to see that there's some action regarding the community gardens, as we do keep some of the campaign promises to our community by our current council. So I am happy to see that. I do have a question, I guess, in my time. The Star Garden, why can it be turned into a shared space between the community, maybe on the weekends or a couple of days during the week? So it's something that maybe Mr. David could maybe later answer if there's no time right now. But I just wanted to throw that idea out there. And also, if we look at the city of Hermosa Beach, they have a couple of community gardens right in a section of their parks. They are beautiful parks, and they have been able to really beautifully connect their community garden, that is a gated area, fenced area, along with additional public use. So I just want to see if we can continue to look into other cities as well that obviously have built out spaces, and they have made them very practical and very beautiful. Continuing to see the Edison Fields, SE spaces in our community. There's also another area right by in front of Stater Brothers, maybe another areas or locations that we can look at. And I know that there was a portion of Mr. Johnson's slideshow that said that currently the STAR program couldn't share with the community. I just want to see if there was a rule or what law states that that it cannot be a shared space. I do understand the risk management part, that it's basically children, but why can't it be shared maybe on the weekends if maybe the older adults can actually help sustain it year round for the kids, for the community, and for the STAR families. And lastly, I just wanted to say I'm also excited about this Explore Paramount campaign. I wanted to invite the council to continue to support the tournaments. Once we hopefully one day we can go back to some type of normalcy, continue to support tournaments through football, soccer, baseball, parades, because these tournaments bring a lot of families. And if we're trying to bring more people to explore the great city of Paramount, that would be great continued support. Each tournament that happens in soccer or football can bring anywhere in between 1,000 to 2,000 visitors each weekend. Thank you. And continue to do targeted social media ads through the e-commerce and through delivery services. Maybe the company that's helping us with the ads and other marketing strategies can target delivery services and commence feeds directly through social media. And that's really all I wanted to say. Continue on bringing some new ideas, innovation to the city.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please.
Hello?
Good evening. This is the City of Paramount calling for Rebecca Perez.
Yes, hi, this is she.
Hi, Ms. Perez. We're calling regarding your request for public comment for item number 13 on the agenda this evening. You're being broadcast live right now to the City Council, and you may begin.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and city staff. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak with you on behalf of the many residents who have waited years for the chance to grow food in a community garden in our city. 6 years ago, I personally made a call into the City Hall to add my name on the waiting list for an available community garden plot. I am still waiting as of today. I wonder how many other residents have placed their name on the list and are still waiting. I'm confident that the number will confirm that the need is great. It's wonderful that we have several school gardens allocated for the children of Paramount. However, when these children grow up, what are their options to continue their sustainability efforts within the city? For years, we've been hearing there's little space to allocate towards additional community garden space in the city of Paramount. I beg to differ. Has the Community Services Department really done their due diligence to investigate all of the available options? For instance, the current community garden on Cortland has 28 garden plots, too large in my opinion, and should be split in order to double the number of plots. The current space sits on only 20% of the available 106,000 square feet of utility space. Could we look into working with the utility owner to determine if we can expand on the east side of this location? Also, there's another expanse of land near Jefferson and Hayter on the north side of Jefferson School, which is 115,000 square feet currently being utilized as an agriculture nursery to grow Asian greens. I have personally spoken to the business owner, and they are open to subleasing a portion of the space to be used as a community garden. The third option is to take advantage of Assembly Bill 551, which was passed in 2013, allowing the city to establish urban agriculture and incentive zones for the purpose of supporting local food production. This bill allows the city to enter into contracts with landowners, specifically those who have empty lots, who agree to restrict the use of their land for small-scale agricultural production. The win for the landowner is that their property taxes will be assessed at a lower rate due to their land now being considered agricultural versus a private dwelling unit. I understand that these options take time and effort, quite possibly more time and effort than our city staff has to allocate towards this venture. Maybe a solution would be to create a volunteer environmental advocacy board to help create, implement, and manage a plan for community gardens, crop swaps, community composting, and free tree mulching. After all, isn't this the foundation to building a stronger and healthier community? Please, I cannot stress enough how important this is to follow through and bring to fruition healthy growing options for the residents of Paramount. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please.
Hello?
Good evening. This is the City of Paramount calling for Laura Ennis.
Yes, I'm Laura Ennis.
Hi, Ms. Ennis. We're calling regarding your request for public comment for item number 13 on this evening's agenda. You're being broadcast live to the City Council right now. We'll give you 3 minutes. You can begin now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Shall I begin?
Yes, you can begin now.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council members. Or you want me to wait?
Oh, no,
okay. Okay.
You're gonna need
yes.
your
My name is Laura Ennis, and I'm a
Okay. Now that the background's muted, you go ahead and begin again. Sorry about that.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council members. My name is Laura Ennis, and I'm a resident of City of Paramount. I would like to talk about community gardens for Paramount. I am thrilled to hear that community gardens are on the agenda tonight. I sincerely hope that Paramount will put out more effort to increase the number of community gardens in our city. From what I understand, there is only one, and it has 28 plots, which are quite large. All the plots are taken for the next several years, and people are waiting on the waiting list. Many people in Paramount who live in condominiums and apartments do not have the outdoor space to be able to plant a garden. I hope the City Council will adopt some measures, such as the urban agricultural incentive, and to impose tax upon companies with empty space, which would encourage companies to allow empty lots and other space to be used for community gardens. Community gardens would give residents a chance to grow produce, improve social and physical health, and widen community cohesion. Community gardens are proved to provide health benefits, including improved access to food, improved nutrition, increased physical activity, and improved mental health. I hope that the Paramount City Council will join forces with the Paramount Recreation Department to create a task force that will create a plan for increasing the number of community gardens and to put the plan in action. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you for your comments. Does that conclude the speakers? I know we have an email, I think you said.
Yes, Madam Mayor, that does conclude the oral public comments, and now we have the one email public comments. So our city clerk, Ms. Heidi Luce, will read that for you tonight.
Good evening. This comment is from April Villanueva. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Honorable City Council members. My name is April Villanueva, and I would like to express my interest and support for bringing community gardens back into our city. Gardening has multiple benefits for kids and adults alike. It has been proven to reduce stress and build up your immune system. And as a mother, just having the opportunity to get my children involved with something that takes them off their electronics is a plus. In addition to physical and mental health benefits, community gardens increase the value of their city and help build stronger communities. My daughter's Girl Scout troop earned their gardening badges 2 years ago. The girls had a great time and learned so much. I would love for all the children in our city to have the opportunity to experience the same thing year-round. Thank you. That concludes the comments, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Heidi. At this time, we'll entertain questions for staff from council members.
Yeah, I will go first because I'm sure a couple of us have some stuff to say. Thank you, Dave, actually, for putting this on the agenda and giving us a full report. And I think, too, people kind of get confused again with what's happening with the STAR program and the grant and the funds and how we can't bring, we're not able to use that. Is that correct, Dave? Can you phrase that again, why we're not able to collaborate with STAR?
Well, that's correct. If I use ACES funds, and we did use ACES funds to develop and maintain, and currently still use ACES funds to maintain that garden, it cannot be used for anything other than ACES purposes, which in our case is the STAR program. So STAR students can use it, or STAR families, and that's what we're doing for the next few months, is allowing STAR families to use that garden until students come back in full in person in the fall. So yeah, it's not allowed by ACES grant policy.
Now, I think we did have a conversation that you were going to look in to see how long we were we had to contract or be with ACES funded. Was there a way out for us? Meaning, if we did not get the funding anymore, that the city would pick up the cost to have this community garden. Is that an option that we can look at?
Well, I hope we never lose ACES funding because that's.
Well, I mean, for a garden, not for the whole STAR program. I know that, but I'm saying for the garden, because that was allocated for the garden, correct? Funds.
Yeah, that would be an option. Certainly, that we would have to talk to the state about. Is if ACES funded this, could we then basically reimburse the ACES program and the state for the cost that they put into through the grant to develop this garden.
Okay. That's a rough one.
Okay. Just to be clear, that actually is city property. It is part of Progress Park.
Right.
So yeah, but again, ACES money unfortunately was what was used to develop it. So yeah, we would have to look at a way of getting out of it, and that is something we can explore if the council so desires.
I guess we could discuss that as well to figure out what the cost of that would be. Because I mean, we're looking at options. We all know that we're short on land and property here in the city of Paramount. So I guess right now we're looking at options that we can explore, correct? I think the other conversation we talked about was, what if we, one of the speakers had mentioned too, what about some of our parks? We have some big parks. Is there anywhere where we can allocate a corner in one of our city parks to do a community garden? Again, these are just things I'm just throwing out, you guys. We're just, this is conversation. And is there opportunity for us to partner with companies? Some companies have big lots. Is there anywhere that maybe we can partner with companies to see if there's something that we can do?
Vice Mayor, let me first comment on the park issue. That's why one of our largest parks is Dills Park. That's why I propose that opportunity to maybe develop a community orchard there, because that is a large site. It doesn't lend itself really to a community garden because it would cause parking issues that we know already exist there, and we don't need to exacerbate that. So we don't have any on-site parking for that lot. And so a community orchard would be really just open to the community at various times to walk over there and grab things that have grown. Unfortunately, though, for the rest of our parks, we are actually defined very clearly as a park-poor community. So we actually, unfortunately, don't have enough space for the human activities that our community needs to engage in. So developing community gardens on our parks would be difficult. We will certainly go back and look at that, but it is problematic. We certainly, again, thank God for the joint use agreement that we have access to school district fields. But our parks are difficult. They're overwhelmed with other uses. So, but again, it's something we can always look at.
Dave, I'm sorry. The last question and the last comment is the fact that, what is it that we're looking for? Can you explain to us, so maybe we get educated, when it comes to building a community garden, what are the factors? So we're looking for parking, right? We're looking, of course, for irrigation. What are the things that we need to build a community garden? Is it a certain corner? Is it a corner that has parking? What is it that we're looking for?
Well, generally, we'd like to look for a property that is not able to be used for commercial development in the city. So we would avoid plots that can provide commercial growth in the city. So you're looking for lots that are not typically able to be used that way, that so they don't really have other solid uses. We'd like to stay away from the industrial zone, and yes, we would look for something that has on-site parking.
Okay. Those are all the tough ones. Okay. And you talked about community orchards possibility. What are the next steps on that?
That would be to get an allocation from City Council to develop a concept plan and then go ahead and budget for the actual construction costs once we develop a concept plan that works.
Okay. I'm done, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, I have a couple questions.
Yes,
and
me too.
some thoughts.
Okay, Councilmember Diaz, go ahead.
Okay, so I like a lot of the ideas that were brought up tonight, and I understand that we have some reasons why we can't do a lot of the things that were proposed, but we need to look outside the box, and we can't just say, oh, because the parks are filled, or because these are the same questions that were posed like 3 years ago. And we talked about vertical gardens, which take up a lot less space. We've talked about container gardens, which if a property sold or commercial development wanted to take place, we could move. So I think we need to just stop thinking about the way we are accustomed to thinking and think outside the box. And I really like the idea of a community panel. And because we've crossed these questions before, I think it would be great to see if we could possibly put out for a consensus from council to see if we could do some type of community panel or commission on environmental issues, volunteers that are just interested in looking outside the box. What could be do things that would provide a better quality of life for the residents, the people who live here, have kids here, and the person who talked about living in an apartment. These are things that we need to think outside the box because these are truly quality of life concerns. So I'd like to get a consensus from council and not just have this tabled somewhere else down the line. And I understand that Parks and Recs is completely overwhelmed with COVID issues and all the great things that they're doing. So I don't see any downside to having a commission to look at a lot of our environmental issues that, like sustainability, that, concern a lot of the residents. Let me see if I mentioned everything in my notes when we were talking. Consensus and great ideas, vertical gardens, garden boxes. Yeah, we hit it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gann. I think the next person I heard speak was Councilmember Stallings, Cuellar Stallings.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm in favor of what David was saying. We need to explore different property that has parking and what Vice Mayor Olmos says, irrigation, and we need all that in order to really have a productive community garden. But I wanted to mention right here by my house between Georgia and Virginia on Madison, there's a man that owns some property. It's private property. And I believe he has several yards. He used to, 2 or 3 years ago, he had a garden growing. And then all of a sudden, he demolished it, and then he just let the grass start growing. But I was wondering, could we approach private property owners and ask them, can we use that property? At one time, you were using it for growing some vegetables and fruits, I was wondering about that, David.
Yeah, hi, Councilmember Cuellar Stallings. This is John Moreno. That's definitely something we could explore with the city attorney. It would involve some type of encroachment permit on private property to allow the public to go on it. So it could be similar to, say, the Pocket Park agreements that we've had in the past, where a landowner allows the city to landscape the area, and the public is permitted to go on that property, and then we assume all the liability, which again is something that we have done in the past. So we can definitely explore that option and check into that.
Yeah, because his vegetable garden was very productive. I was really amazed. As my granddaughters were growing up, you could see the small little baby watermelons growing to big watermelons, and he has at the present time, he does have a lemon tree that's very productive, and I see some of the lemons just falling and not being used. That's really a shame. But anyway, thank you. I greatly appreciate it. We can look into that.
Thank you, Councilmember Cuellar Stallings. I think it would be, David presented us actually with a lot of ideas that need exploring and some outside the box ideas. I would like for, I think it would be a good idea if you put that all together, David, in a more definitive report for us, all of the options that you presented, as well as the ideas that came in from the callers. If you could look into each one of those plots of land that they suggested and see what the possibility is of us using those. Take your ideas, be a little more specific with them, so that we actually have some hands-on information to make some choices. And then I wanted to address Councilmember Ian's suggestion of the committee. I do know from speaking with the city manager that I have spoken to him regarding a sustainability subcommittee or ad hoc committee of the city council, and he had mentioned to me other council members had spoken to him about that too. So perhaps we could get a report on the best way to do that too. I would like to see it be at least start off so we can get a good handle on where we're going as a subcommittee of the City Council and review everything where we're at right now with sustainability projects that have been accomplished so far. I know we have 2 or 3 in the works so far, and we could set some direction of where we want to go with it. And then maybe when we get there and have a clear vision, then that would require us bringing in a subcommittee of some kind, or perhaps it stays with us, I don't know. But I think that we need a cohesive direction on both of those things to begin to move forward. Are those something, Mr. Moreno, that are doable for staff?
Absolutely, Madam Mayor. We can definitely do the presentation, bring back to you a compilation of some of the ideas that were brought up tonight, as well as expanding more of the ideas for community gardens. And then number 2, we have started to conduct a little bit of research of what a sustainability committee would look like. I know that, as you had mentioned, this was brought up to me too by Vice Mayor Olmos, and as well as you. And so I do have this city clerk and the assistant city manager checking into how would we form such a committee, if it would be another commission, or if it would be something that would be kind of like a secondary body of the city council, or as what was suggested tonight, a volunteer group of community members. So we can look at all those options and report back to the council. Absolutely.
Yeah, let's get some information so that we can move forward in that direction, and then as many specifics as we can get on those properties that David talked about, as well as the suggestions that come in, in a written report that identifies each property, what the possibilities are, what the holdbacks are, the outside of the box ones, all of it, so that we have a concrete format to move forward with and map out a plan.
Absolutely.
Is there anyone else? Okay, if not, we accept this report for receive and file, and we'll move on to item 14, neighborhood permit parking request.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council. When the City Council approved the repurposing of a section of Dills Park to be turned into a mini-pitch soccer court, the Council expressed concern about the potential for parking issues in that area. As a result, staff was instructed to explore a solution to this potential issue on a more of a preemptive basis, that is, before the mini-pitch opened. Although there could be a potential for parking issues, we were encouraged that a similar repurposing project at a nearby park in the same neighborhood, that is the Sands neighborhood, it did not create a parking issue for the residents. And this happened to be the conversion of our old orange pool into the splashy orange splash pad. As we explained, this is primarily a neighborhood park amenity that serves the surrounding neighborhood, and in this case, we're referring to the kids from the Rio Puente Trailer Park. But nonetheless, to avoid impacting street parking for the residents, we are definitely proposing a neighborhood permit parking for this area. And Adriana Lopez, our Public Safety Director, will handle this item. Adriana?
Yes, thank you, John. Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members once again. Like John mentioned, tonight's presentation is a request to implement neighborhood permit parking for the 6500 block of San Carlos Street. In the last few years, the City Council approved several changes to the city's parking permit program. And one of those changes was the adoption of Resolution 20029 back in October of 2020. What Resolution 20029 allows for the Public Safety Director to recommend permit parking for neighborhoods that might experience negative parking effects brought by expanding services. As John mentioned, one of those programs is the construction of the mini soccer court at Dills Park. Although the mini soccer court is intended for the nearby community, staff does anticipate that this court may attract more vehicles to park in the 6500 block of San Carlos Street and challenging the local parking needs. Staff feels that permit parking would help the residents with their parking needs and maintaining their parking spaces. As John mentioned, in August of 2020, the City Council approved the construction of the mini pitch at the north end of Deals Park. The construction is an upgrade to the existing open park area. The mini pitch is located adjacent to the 6500 block of San Carlos Street, and I'll show you a map. The area highlighted in green is where the mini pitch soccer field or mini pitch court is located. And then you have San Carlos Street, and that would be the 6500 block, which is made up of 5 parcels and then 2 parcels on the corners that actually have a San Jose Street address. And that is the area where we're proposing resident permit parking. This is a picture of the mini soccer court. I think it still looks like that. I know it's changing almost daily, but I think those are current pictures. So back in October 2020, the public safety staff surveyed the several parcels that we had just discussed along the 6500 block of San Carlos Street, just to obtain the consensus of permit parking. Even though we sent mail surveys both in English and in Spanish, and we also gave the property owners the option of mailing those back or using an online code. Unfortunately, we did not receive any surveys, so staff conducted door knocks of all the 7 parcels. We did receive 86%. It should be approval rate and not response rate. We only had 1 property owner who was against resident permit parking. And it is recommended that the City Council authorize neighborhood parking permit for the 6500 block of San Carlos Street, which will be effective immediately. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Adriana. Are there questions? If not, can I have a motion, please?
This is Claire Stallings. I motion for the approval.
Councilmember Aguayo, I second the motion.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Claire Stallings, seconded by Councilmember Aguayo. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen,
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings,
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Olmos,
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Okay, next, item 15, median modification. Staff report, please.
Yes, Madam Mayor. The school district has a multi-year plan to bring about traffic safety improvement at schools throughout the district. Their latest effort is at Zamboni School on Orange Avenue, and this improvement will require them to do some construction in our street median that's on Orange Avenue, which they'll pay for. But we'd like to take this opportunity to redo the landscape on the rest of the median. This will require budget adjustment. So Adriana Figueroa, our Public Works Director, will tell us more the details about this. Adriana?
Thank you, John. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, as John indicated, the city has received a request from the Paramount Unified School District for street median modifications on Orange Avenue by Zamboni Middle School, which is located between Alondra Boulevard and Merce Street. Let me see if this, it went too fast, sorry. Okay. The school district had been evaluating traffic conditions around several schools and had prepared and approved a traffic improvement plan. That plan outlines modifications at various school properties that include new parking lot configurations and drop-off zones. School parents currently utilize the street as sort of a pseudo drop-off lane, and that creates quite a bit of traffic congestion on Orange Avenue. The new layout prepared for Zamboni Middle School will require modifications to the city's existing street median to allow for turns into the new driveway entrance that will be created. So I'll show you the proposed site plan. This is the existing conditions. All right. So as you can see from this image, most of the improvements that will be done by the creation of a drop-off zone are improvements within the school property. The entrance to the drop-off zone will be closer to Merce Street, and this, of course, will require some modifications to our medians in that area. As you can see from the image, a portion of the existing median will be removed, and I'm going to ask Steve to, yes, thank you very much, to point to that area. Let me see if I had put a circle there. Oh, went too far. Sorry about that. Steve, if you can help me with that. So a portion of the existing median will be removed to allow for that left turn into the new drop-off zone, and a portion will be added to the median south of Windmill Lane, thank you, Steve, that you see right there closer to the crosswalk. PUSD will include as part of their project all of these modifications and will install drought-tolerant planting to those sections of the median that they will be touching. That planting will be similar to the rest of the drought-tolerant converted median citywide. With this in mind, we would like to take this opportunity to convert the remaining of the median not being altered by PUSD. We have requested a quote from our from Brightview Landscape Services, the city's exclusive landscape maintenance contractor, to perform that work, and that came in at a little over $135,000. In an effort to maintain consistency and quality of landscaping and service, we are recommending that Brightview handle this conversion to drought-tolerant planting. This will require a budget adjustment of around $136,000 to the fiscal year 21 adopted budget. If approved tonight, this adjustment will be included in the mid-year budget, and Brightview, our landscape maintenance contractor, would perform that work under the additional services section of our existing contract with them. So I wanted to show you, and you've seen this, including an image of our existing drought-tolerant planting palette for our median conversion citywide, which is what will be used for the proposed median modification on Orange Avenue. So with that, it is recommended that the City Council, I'm sorry, the slides are going too fast. It is recommended that the City Council approve the median modifications on Orange Avenue by Zamboni Middle School and authorize the budget adjustment for additional services under the existing contract with Brightview Landscape Services in the amount of $135,015.27. That concludes my report, but I'll be happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Okay, thank you, Adriana. Questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
This is Councilmember Aguayo. I move the item.
Second, Gian.
Okay. The item has been moved by Councilmember Aguayo and seconded by Councilmember Guillen to approve the median modifications on Orange Avenue by Zamboni Middle School, located between Boulevard and Merce Street, and to authorize the budget adjustment services under the existing contract with Brightview Landscape Services Incorporated, Gardena, California, in the amount of $135,000.27. Can I have a roll call?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Councilmember Quer-Stallings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Next, we'll move on to the agreement between the City of Downey and the City of Paramount for Century Boulevard improvements.
Yes, our Public Works Director, Adriana Figueroa, will handle this item. Adriana?
Thank you, John. Madam Mayor and members of the council, our 2020-2021 Neighborhood Street Improvement CIP project includes the resurfacing of Century Boulevard from Ruther Avenue to Barlin Avenue. I'm going to put up a map. That's better. However, Century Boulevard from Klondike Avenue to Barlin Avenue is located within the City of Downey. We have contacted the City of Downey, and in order to assure a cohesive and a uniform street rehabilitation project, the City of Downey is willing to partner with us by contributing to the costs for this portion of the project. This is common practice for cities where boundaries are shared. Most recently, we had partnered with the City of Compton for street improvements on Hunsaker Avenue. The estimated cost to the City of Downey is $200,000, and attached for City Council's review and approval is the funding agreement between the City of Downey and us, which has been reviewed and approved by the City Attorney as to form, and I should note the City Council for the City of Downey has already approved that agreement as well. So with that, it is recommended that the City Council approve the agreement with the City of Downey for the Century Boulevard improvements and authorize the mayor or her designee to execute the agreement. That concludes my report, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Adriana. Questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
This is Councilmember Quer Stallings. I move the item.
This is Councilmember Aguayo. I second the motion.
Thank you, ladies. I have a motion from Councilmember Quer Stallings, a second by Councilmember Aguayo to approve the agreement with the City of Downey for Century Boulevard improvements and authorize the mayor or designee to execute this agreement. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. We'll move on to an oral report for the Planning Department 2020 year in summary.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Although 2020 was a challenging year for all of us, our planning department was very busy with a variety of activities and accomplishments that we'd like to share with you right now. So with that, I'll turn over to our planning director, Mr. John Carver, who will handle the item. John?
Thank you, John, Madam Mayor, and council members. This is a year-end review for the planning department of 2020. The planning department is comprised of the building division and the building and safety division. And during COVID, we have been able to maintain a high level of service while following COVID safety protocols. The planning division had a busy year, having processed 56 administrative actions. 17 of those were from the metal-related businesses. We also processed 15 development review applications and 22 conditional use permits. Conditional use permits for things such as restaurants and gas stations and things along those lines. The Building and Safety Division also had a busy year. They processed 399 permits and did a little bit more than 7,100 inspections. The council approved an update to the Building and Safety Code for sustainable buildings and a new requirement for electric vehicle charging outlets in new garages. 11 new homes were constructed in 2020 on Orange Avenue. You can see from the before picture in the upper left-hand side that the development made a huge aesthetic improvement to this area of Orange Avenue. 2020 was also busy with reviewing and approving 15 permits for accessory dwelling units. In this case, this was a garage conversion. You can see the garage on the upper left and then the conversion on the right. This site on Somerset Boulevard suffered a fire, as you can see in that aerial picture, and was reconstructed with a modern design theme. The property owner is currently seeking a tenant for that property. After many delays, the Hochateria Rio Luna opened on Paramount Boulevard and has added another alternative for people to enjoy in the downtown. And you might see that artist Miriam Bricio. She also did the utility box by RC's Barbershop on Paramount Boulevard. The home improvement program finished the remodel of 4 single-family homes, and currently we are processing 3 applications, and 3 others are under review. And here's a look at a before and after. The after shot is in the bottom. We did new paint, a new roof, and new windows at this property. An exciting project on North Paramount Boulevard was the remodel of the old TV shop. The property had been in a deteriorated condition for many years, and over the years we have tried to get a commercial rehabilitation project done here. Finally, we were able to get things started, and the difference between the before and after is significant. In 2020, a number of zoning ordinance text amendments were approved by the City Council, including an amendment dealing with art in public places, indoor recreational uses, and digital signs in windows and gas station monument signs. The City Council also approved a food truck ordinance and a parking lot sweeping ordinance. Through our program, Paramount Paints, a mural was painted on Somerset Boulevard on the west side of the city. The mural was funded from the Art in Public Places fund. The Paramount Paints program also saw a number of utility boxes transformed. We have 4 examples here, and the one on the far right is from the artist from the Hochateria. And looking to 2021, an exciting project will be a 10-unit housing development on Alondra Boulevard on the frontage road west of Hunsaker Avenue. This project will eliminate a number of blighted properties. Also in 2021 is the Smoke and Fire Eatery opening in the old Pizza Press Suite at the Clearwater Crossing development. And the last word from the owners of that restaurant were that they want to open by March 1st. Moving over to the east side of town, a Tierra Mia coffee shop will be under construction soon. This is a long-awaited project, and in addition to delicious coffee, Tierra Mia has a great line of various types of food. Looking at some specific plans that we're working on, we will be completing the North Paramount Gateway specific plan this year. This project is partially funded with a grant from the Southern California Association of Governments. This plan will look at ways to reduce vehicle miles traveled, and a mobility and parking assessment will be conducted. The plan will also look at the light rail station that will be coming in at Paramount and Rosecrans and planning around that, around the light rail station. And finally, the plan will look at ways to promote sustainability. And finally, we're working on the housing element to the general plan, along with the environmental justice element and the safety element. We began this project last fall. We've done a number of public outreach on this plan, and an English workshop was held last night to solicit participation from the public, and a workshop in Spanish will be held tomorrow. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, John. Are there questions? Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to comments and committee reports from council members. And we will go ahead and start with Vice Mayor Olmos.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Couple of items that I wanted to touch on tonight was, I know, I'm not sure if Adriana is still on the line, but I'm inquiring to see, I know in 2020, last few months, we were incorporating our Neighborhood Watch meetings virtual. And Steve did such a great job hosting those meetings. And right now, virtual is our only option to reach out and engage and inform our residents. So I was hoping maybe that we can get another virtual meeting online, and maybe a good topic right now is ways to protect your property, house, car. So Adriana, if you could possibly look into that. The other item is basically kind of what John Carver just touched on right now. I attended the housing element meeting last night. And I think the other option that we can do to improve our education in the community is maybe hosting a virtual education meeting on how our permit process works for adding on to existing existing houses, on, if you want to build a second story, or even on the Senate Bill 1069 with the ADUs. I think there was some questions last night where people were concerned that the city was not approving those second story buildings, but John King did clear it up. He cleared up the assumption last night that the city is not denying. So again, this may be a good opportunity to educate on the process of how, to extend in your house, your current house, or even do an ADU on your property. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Yes,
Thank
Madam
you,
Mayor. I'm sorry if I could interrupt real quick. Adriana Lopez is here. She does have an update on the Neighborhood Watch meeting.
Yes, good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor. I just wanted to let you know that we had scheduled a Neighborhood Watch meeting for tomorrow, but unfortunately I did not catch the date, and it would conflict with tomorrow's Spanish training. So we rescheduled it. We don't have a date yet, but our topic is going to be safety, fire safety, and Station 31 would be part of that Neighborhood Watch meeting. And it's going to discuss more along the lines like carbon monoxide alarms, just house safety in general.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Adriana. But can we just also add that maybe a topic right now Again, we just want to make sure that residents understand how to protect themselves when it comes to their cars. If their cars are getting broken into, what can they do to avoid situations? So again, it's just a topic that I'd like to see.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor Olmos. Councilmember Aguayo.
Okay. I actually don't have too much today, except, thank you for all the presentations. They definitely informative. And just stay safe. Just stay safe out there. Have a blessed night.
Thank you, Isabel. Councilmember Guillen.
Hello. First, I just wanted to thank Dr. Linda Timmons for giving the great reading that she did of the poem that was read at the inauguration. And 3 principles really jumped out at me, and I'd like to just say what those are because I think they're relevant to our city and to all the communities. And number one of the things that jumped out was we've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And I think we've seen that over the year of 2020. We really witnessed examples of when we don't address things, how it can get, it can get to the point of where people have to really protest and show what they're trying to convey. And so the other one was, even as we tire, know that we tried. And that really stuck out to me too, because sometimes we have residents who come before the council over and over and over again, and I just want to encourage you to keep trying, because that's how we make change. And then the third one was, no one shall make them afraid, and we will continue to strive forward with necessary change. And although change can sometimes be uncomfortable, it is necessary to evolve. And that's what I want to leave you with. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Stallings.
Yes. Just want to continue reminding our residents that, keep your mask on and make sure you wash your hands. And because even though the stay-at-home has been lifted, we still have to be cautious of our surroundings and not try to be in large crowds. I just thought I'd put that out there. Also, February 11th, we're having another food drive at Bianchi Theaters from 9 to 12 p.m. You're all invited. I know some of you are still struggling, and also remember that the city of Paramount is also helping with rent, and also even if your house payments, call the city hall and get the information and fill out the application. It's not going to hurt to try. And last, to a very personal touch of Dr. Perez leaving our district, I want to thank her for her dedication to our students, teachers, classified staff, and everyone else that she helped at Paramount Unified School District. Buena suerte, que Dios vaya con usted, and have fun on your new adventure, Dr. Perez. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Claire Stallings. I too would just like to say another thank you to Dr. Timmons for stepping up and doing this. It was a last-minute request that I made of her, and so for her to take the time and do such an incredibly beautiful job, we certainly appreciate that. And I also wanted to say thank you to the Parks and Recreation staff who are helping our seniors to get the vaccine by, doing the paperwork for them and looking online. I have referred several seniors there myself. They, called me back to let me know that our staff was amazing. They got them appointments. They just were feeling so overwhelmed by the technology of having to do it. So it really helped. The guys are doing a terrific job. I also just want to piggyback on something that Councilmember Guillen said, that don't get discouraged when you come before the council and you don't always get what you want when you want it. Things change consistently over time. Funding sources change, attitudes change, times change. I've been in your shoes. I know what it's like. I went to a council over a period of about 5 years trying to get code enforcement in our city, and now it's just a given. But there was a time when there was no monitoring of that, where you could have as many junk cars in your front lawn as you wanted and grow your grass over the top of your roof, and there were just no laws to prevent it. So change is ever evolving. Ears are always open. Residents are important. Don't get discouraged. Know that our goal is always to serve and do the best for the community. So please keep bringing your concerns to us. And with that, we will move to staff reports.
None, Madam Mayor. I did present some announcements about the eviction ordinance that the state of California passed. So that was it.
Okay. So with that, I'm going to have the city attorney chime in if this is improper, but I'm going to go ahead and move forward with it, which is to recess to the successor agency and then into closed session. Can I do both of those at once, John, or do I have to call back to order in between?
Yeah, that's correct, Madam Mayor. That's the procedure I would recommend.
Call back to order in between?
Yes.
Okay. So then we'll just recess to the successor agency for now. Okay, with that, we call to order the February 2nd meeting of the successor agency. Can I have a roll call of councilmembers, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Here.
Councilmember Guillen.
Here.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
I'm here.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Here.
Mayor Lemons.
Here. For public comments, I know that the person that we were trying to reach during the council meeting, we held till public this time and we were able to get a hold. That's still the case, staff?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we do. And Andrew Villalpando will contact the speaker.
Thank you.
Hello, you've reached Alex.
Well, it sounds like we got his voicemail, Madam Mayor. Would you like to us to try again, or?
No, we're going to go ahead and move on to the consent calendar. Can I have a motion on that, please?
So moved, almost.
Second, Quer Stallings.
Moved by Vice Mayor Olmos, seconded by Councilor Quer Stallings, that we approve the consent calendar. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. With that, we'll stand adjourned until the March 2nd, 2021 meeting at 6 p.m. I'm going to call the council meeting back to order, and we are going to then recess to closed session for public employee performance evaluations of the city manager. And everybody has the information they need to call into closed session?
Correct.
Okay, so
yes.
You can just put this meeting on mute and hold, coming back to adjourn, okay?
Hello, Mayor and members of the City Council. This is Andrew. I'm just checking to see if everyone's back on the line from closed session, so I'll just do a quick roll call. Mayor Lemons?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos?
Yes.
Councilmember Aguayo?
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen?
Yes.
Councilmember Cuellar Stallings?
I'm here.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we are back in open session, and I would like to give the council and the public a report on the closed session, if it pleases the council.
Thank you, Mr. Kavanaugh. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. The City Council did conduct a duly authorized closed session under Government Code Section 54957B1. This is the public employee performance evaluation involving the city manager. And there was a unanimous vote of 5-0, a vote of confidence to City Manager John Moreno in his evaluation. Then that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kavanaugh. Thank you, ladies, for all your hard work tonight. Thank you for the public for joining us. And with that, we will stand adjourned until March 2nd, 2021 at 6 p.m. Have a blessed day, everyone.